This is Jackie, and I'm here with Buddy of Senses Fail. We're here at Baltimore Soundstage, enjoying the tour. Now, you have been in Senses Fail from the beginning. You've dealt with lineup changes and such. What do you attest to your longevity personally after all these years?
There's a good amount of perseverance. I mean, to be honest, there are definitely some times when I think other people would have probably just like packed it in. I mean, you know, I obviously, I don't think we've ever written a bad record. Um, I think lyrically, people really enjoy the lyrics. I mean, over the last two records, we changed quite a bit, and then we kind of come back to what we were doing and what made us popular to begin with. But I mean, there were periods in there, probably like 10 years ago, where it's like we had really peaked, and then like I'm living at my parents' house and making no money, and just we were in a lawsuit. There's just a ton of stuff that happened. That's just like when I really think about like, oh well, why is the band still here? And you're like, well, because of this the the music and the lyrics, and like a lot of it is like, yeah, well, really, because I just didn't decide to quit. I mean, because there are times in there that like, I mean, literally everybody quit. Literally everyone else. So it's sort of like, uh, I just didn't. Instead of like relying on the band solely as my sole income, I went and started working in the music industry, and I worked for other bands, and then I worked at a record label, and I kind of like supplemented um, survival other places, so I could just sort of use the band as creativity, and I think that that's really what kept the band going because um, if I'd just been relying on the band, I mean, I would have been kind of not either live in my parents' house or like homeless, really. So I had to figure something out. Um, Wanting to kind of be a 28-year-old person that had like an apartment, and so I went that way, and then decided to keep the band more as like a hobby, which is why the two records really kind of became so different. Because I was like, I don't care. I'm not. This isn't my living anymore, so I can really do whatever I want. I can be creative and go this route and not worry like, oh no, this is my bread and butter. I need this to make money. So really, I think that's really what kept it going. Because if I had not done that, we would have been in a situation where uh, I couldn't have done it.
I mean, growing up in New Jersey, there's a certain part of growing up there that teaches you to be persistent and kind of be creative and do things that kind of keep you going. I can speak from experience on that one. So, If There's a Light, It Will Find You recently came out. How is it either an evolution or sort of return to form from Let It Enfold You?
I mean, it's an evolution because I wrote it all, so that's a first, meaning that it's Census Fail reimagined only from my perspective and through my abilities to create not just the lyrics and the melodies, but also the music. So I think that's what kind of gives it like it's not a redo of Census Fail, but it is in a way. So it's this weird like it sounds exactly like Census Fail, but it kind of feels different and newer, and it is new. It's new old Census Fail.
It's new to you. It's 2.0.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would say
so,
that.
so what was it like working with Bo from Saosin again, and what was his role in crafting the album sound?
We wrote a bunch of the songs together because, like I said, I came in, I was like, I got this verse, chorus, like, let's tie it all together, help me out, help make these guitar parts better because I'm not the greatest guitar player. What can I do to make these songs Census Fail? He was very helpful because he'd been around for Census Fail, like touring wise, and we toured together a ton. So he's like kind of really knows from an outside perspective what is it that people like about Census Fail musically. You know what I mean? I think I know lyrically, melodically, but musically, it's sometimes maybe hard for me to articulate some of the more, um, you know, stuff maybe I can't necessarily play. Uh, and he was able to help me do that, and it was super easy. I mean, it's just really easy, relaxed. It was the easiest record I've ever made. I'll tell you that. Which is you know, interesting experience. People are like, oh man, how much time? I mean, I spent a lot of time, but it wasn't difficult, you know?
Awesome. So you released 3 singles prior to the album's release. What was the thinking behind that, and how do you go about choosing songs for singles?
Well, I mean, the general rule of thumb is you pick the best songs. You pick the songs that you think will react the best, and then you also pick the songs in which you think will introduce what the vibe of the record will be to try to sort of like get fans excited about it. So so we kind of did that. I mean, luckily we wrote every single song to be a single, to be honest. So we could have picked any song and I would have felt good about it.
And you also created some music videos. What role do you see music videos having in the music scene in general in 2018?
You know, just like they always have been, really, just a visual representation tying in with like what is this band about? What is their overall visual thing? Like you can represent your personality in a video. You know, is this record, you know, what or even more specifically, what is this song specifically about? And I think it's just another vehicle to. It's part of the piece. It used to be a very large piece. Like here's the single, here's the video, boom. It's like this is the driving thing. But now it's like, well, it's one of the pieces of the puzzle.
So less of an emphasis, you'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you still don't want to have something that's like not thought out, but you also don't need to be spending. I mean, we spend a lot of money on videos, and you just not do that anymore because it's not the sole vehicle for the single. I mean, you used to not release songs on the internet. You just here's the video, and this is the single. I mean, this is the single for the record. It is the one song people will hear before the record comes out.
And in like the late 90s, early thousands, like people spend an incredible amount of money on videos because that was really the only vehicle to sort of introduce.
Radio and that, and then you know in and around print advertising and stuff. But other than that, the video was like a third of the triangle of how to promote the record. So it was a very big deal. And now it's just but one of 20 pieces. You try to all piece together to make it work.
And now we have music streaming being such a predominant force. What does success look like or feel like to you now with sort of these different avenues of music and sort of different ways that it's brought out and available?
I mean, I judge success pretty much based upon like ticket sales. That's kind of how I judge my success. Obviously, we had a really good first week. We had a pretty big. We had the biggest first week we've had in. Okay, like if you took an aggregate of what we ended up with, like 8,500 plus 90, it would be 9,500 including streaming. And you aggregated that to 10 years ago, I would say that we probably sold more records than we did 10 years ago. So, I mean, having a number one, rock record, number one alternative record, number one indie record, and number, and then number like 12 on iTunes. I mean, and then being able to make it onto the Billboard charts, whatever that means. But for we were the number one like new record, number 12 new record, which is pretty high for us to place. So that is pretty successful. I mean, for my perspective, but I really judge like these shows that we're doing on this tour are doing just as well, if not better, than the last tour we did, which was like a Still Searching anniversary album tour. So if we can have a new music tour do just as well, if not better, than an album tour, I would say that would be a really good sign of current success.
I would agree with you on that. So with 7 albums in your discography, how do you go about choosing songs for a set list now?
Play all the ones with videos. I mean, that knocks down about 12 songs. Because generally...
You're so cute.
Okay. Generally, that's a lot of people know a lot of the songs with videos. So, you're ruining it.
You're so cute, though.
Just lay down. Yeah, and then we have to fill it in, and we're always trying to play the songs people want to hear. So I'm not one of those bands that's like, no, you're not going to get.
You're going to hear what I want to play.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but we're playing a lot of new stuff, so that helps too when you have like new music that you're like that people like, you're like, whoa, we'll play a bunch of that.
Now, you guys have played Warped Tour at mid-2000s and more. Who would you like to see play this last round if you happen to stop by, you know, like Camden or something crazy like that?
I wanted to see like Bad Religion or something like that. I think that'd be fun to see one of those bands, or I don't know, even one of the bigger, weirder, like random things they had back in the day, like the like No Doubt and stuff like that. I mean, that would always be very fun. Now, one year we did it, Linkin Park showed up, and that was like pretty cool, you know.
There's still a chance for special guests.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just not going to be My Chemical Romance. Sorry, kids, not happening.
I can confirm
Oh
that.
well, oh well.
Mikey was at the first show, hanging out with James, and I got to say hi to him. I hadn't seen him in a while, but I don't think they're playing Warped Tour.
I think if they got back together, that's not where they would be playing.
No, I'm sure they would do the arena.
Yes. So 2018 is a busy year for you. Back-to-back spring tours. Where are you headed next? For next tour, next spring tour.
I don't know. I mean, we're gonna do something this summer. We have like kind of a Canadian thing we're doing, and then we'll probably maybe do some overseas stuff, and then we'll hopefully be supporting something in the fall, and maybe, I don't know. I don't really know. It's we're in that we're like, that's just on the edge of past where we're planned.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned for much more from Census Fail. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus FM.